Very good afternoon. A warm welcome to one and all for this webinar on pharmacovigilance in homeopathy. Greetings to you all on behalf of National Homeopathy Research Institute in Mental Health. Today we have two presentations by two subject experts on topics like regulatory aspects of manufacturing and sale of homeopathic drugs, as well as need and challenges of pharmacovigilance in homeopathy. So before introducing the speakers, I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Bindu Sharma, Assistant Director, CCRH. We are privileged to have Madam on the today's platform. And before we inaugurate this program officially by Dr. Bindu Sharma, Madam, I would request Dr. Anju VN, who is the Program Assistant at Peripheral Pharmacovigilance Center, Kottayam, under NHRIMH Kottayam. I request Dr. Anju V. Nath to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes, Doctor. Yes, please
am
go
I
ahead.
audible?
Yes, you are, Doctor.
Good
Please go
afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. Myself, Dr. Anju Reenath, Program Assistant, Peripheral Pharmacovigilance Center, NHRIMH Kottayam. It gives me an immense pleasure to start this auspicious occasion by heartily welcome everybody in this program. Now I welcome our chief guest, which is our inauguration by Dr. Bindu Sharma, Assistant Director, CCRH New Delhi, and our officer in charge, Dr. K.C. Muralidharan, and also our speakers, Dr. Soban Paul, Assistant Professor, Department of Materia Medica, National Institute of Homeopathy, Kolkata, and Sri K.J. John, Drug Controller and Licensing Authority. I heartily welcome all others into this program. And in this occasion, I would like to appreciate and thank each and everyone who report and refer the ADR cases to PPVC. Now, hello.
Yes, Doctor, go ahead.
Now I would like to invite respected Dr. Bindu Sharma ma'am, Assistant Director Homeopathy, CCRH New Delhi, for inaugural address.
Thank you, Dr. Deepti and Dr. Anju. Good afternoon to all the participants and resource persons, Shri KG John and Dr. Swapan Paul. I'm delighted to be with you today on the occasion of this webinar on a very relevant topic in the present scenario. I take this opportunity to congratulate the organizers of this webinar from National Research Institute in Health Kottayam for choosing this topic of pharmacovigilance in homeopathy. Pharmacovigilance refers to a continuous post-marketing monitoring system to systematically document the safety profile of a medicine. As defined by WHO, pharmacovigilance is the science relating to detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse events or any other possible drug-related problems. The Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathic drugs are regulated in the country in accordance with exclusive provisions of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and rules thereunder. Pharmacovigilance concerns of drugs and procedures used in traditional medicines are being debated at national and international levels. The quality issues of these drugs are raised from various sources, and it is felt necessary in the public interest to oversee the impact of Ayush drugs consumed by the people from perspective of their safety profile. Dissemination and advertisement of improper drug information is also a matter of concern that needs to be addressed with a systemic surveillance and regulatory action. The main aims of this program are to develop a system-wise database of adverse drug reactions of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathy drugs, to evolve evidence-based recommendations regarding the clinical safety and improper advertisements of ASU and H drugs for regulatory actions, Ultimately, improve the patient care and safety, public health in relation to medicines, assessment of benefits and harm, effectiveness of risk of medicines, encouraging their safe, rational, and effective use, to promote understanding, education, and clinical training in pharmacovigilance and effective communication to the public. The Ministry of Ayush has launched a central sector scheme of safety monitoring and surveillance of adverse reactions and advertisements of ASU and H drugs. The purpose of pharmacovigilance initiative of ASU and H drugs is to collect, collate, and analyze data to establish evidence for clinical safety of the ASU and H drugs in a scientific manner for documenting clinical evidence of safety of these drugs and undertake the surveillance of advertisements of these drugs. This scheme of Ministry of Ayush aims at inculcating the reporting culture among the consumers as well as ASU and H practitioners to facilitate the documentation of adverse drug reactions and instances of misleading advertisements of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathy drugs. The above aims will be achieved through a three-tier system of National Pharmacovigilance Coordination Center, intermediary pharmacovigilance centers, and peripheral pharmacovigilance centers. I sincerely hope that in this context, as I have enumerated already, this webinar will help in education of the participants regarding the key aspects of the pharmacovigilance and homeopathy. During COVID pandemic, such a webinar will help to bring to light the concept of reporting culture regarding misleading advertisements, which is the need of the hour. I hope through such webinars, the organizers will try to enlighten the participants to think, act in the right direction to achieve the desired outcome of the pharmacovigilance program in India. I extend my warm greetings and best wishes to the participants, delegates, and organizers for the grand success of this webinar. I also congratulate Dr. K.C. Muralidharan, Officer in Charge, National Homeopathy Research Institute in Mental Health, for organizing such a organizing such a good webinar with a relevant topic. And the topics, which will be deliberated upon today, the regulatory aspects of manufacturing and sale of homeopathy drugs, needs and challenges of pharmacovigilance in homeopathy. These will perhaps go a long way in educating the delegates and the participants. I wish once again the organizers a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for your warm wishes and a wonderful inaugural address. For those of you who are not aware, Madam is Assistant Director, CCRH New Delhi, and she's also a senior and head of the documentation unit of Central Council for Research in Homeopathy. Thank you once again, Madam. Now I request Dr. K.C. Muralidharan, sir, who is Officer in Charge of National Homeopathy Research Institute and Mental Health, Kottayam, and also Coordinator for the Peripheral Pharmacovigilance Unit and this NHRMH Kottayam. Request you, sir, to kindly deliver the presidential address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Deepti, for introducing me. And this is a series of webinar which we are organizing, and we have already organized many webinars on pharmacovigilance related to homeopathy and related to base drugs. And this year also, in NHRMH Kottayam. So as a responsible person, the acceptance of pharmacovigilance is very limited among the homeopathic practitioners itself. They have their own lot of inhibitions about this program, which we have actually, we have conducted several programs, and many homeopaths have raised the issues of many aspects in this pharmacovigilance program, especially in homeopathy. So, however, and this institute has been adjudged as one of the best institute. Last 2 years, we have been awarded with the same certificates of merit for best performance under pharmacovigilance program of AIDS and H drugs. And I would like to thank my previous program assistant, Dr. Govi Krishnan. He has taken a lot of effort to initiate this program in this institute. And right now, Dr. Anju Vinath, she is also very energetic. Young doctor, who is also taking a lot of effort to bring out a lot of areas which we need to cover further in pharmacovigilance. So I welcome one and all for this program, because already we will be delayed with this program. Anyway, we are not going with a lot of other speeches. So I'm welcoming once again our eminent speakers, Mr. John sir. He is readily agreed to participate in this program when I called him. Actually, we are grateful to sir for your participation. He is a drug controller of Kerala, having immense experience in the various fields related to all the regulations, all the aspects in pharmacovigilance. And second person, Dr. Sopan Paul, he has been immensely experienced in this program, pharmacovigilance program, as he was the coordinator of the Intermediary Pharmacovigilance Center located in NIH Calcutta. So these two deliberations definitely will be benefiting the profession for a better understanding of this regulatory aspect, as well as for the what are the intricacies in homeopathy in pharmacovigilance. So thank you one and all, and welcome you, and enjoy this session, and deliberate it positively, and ask good questions, discuss about it, and disseminate it. Thank you so much, one and all.
Thank you, sir. And I'll just take this opportunity to introduce today's speaker, Sri KJ John, who is drug controller in charge of Government of Kerala. So Dr. Sri KJ John has completed his graduation in pharmacy and training at Government Drug Testing Laboratory. He joined the government service as drugs inspector at Drugs Control Department. And in 2016, did post-graduation in pharmaceutical regulatory affairs from his alma mater, JSS College of Pharmacy, Mysore. And the sir has served as officer for blood safety programs in the State AIDS Control Society for 3 years, and as purchase manager in the State Medical Services Corporation for another 3 years. Sri KJ John, along with the former drugs controller Sri Ravi S. Menon, was instrumental in the commissioning of Kerala State Price Monitoring and Research Unit. He has been appointed as the chairman of subcommittee constituted by DCGI to submit a proposal on disposal of expired and unused drugs. That Kerala, as most of you know, Kerala is the first state which implemented a prestigious project named PROUD, which is an acronym for Program on Removal of Unused Drugs. So this project for disposal of expired and unused drugs has come under the able guidance of Sri KJ John, sir. So now I request Sri KJ John, sir, over to you, sir. Can you deliver your presentation? Sir is going to present on regulatory aspects of manufacturing and sale of homeopathic drugs. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. I'm audible now.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So-
sir. You're audible.
Okay. So I'll start. I have prepared a presentation. I'll be going through the slides. So, okay. So my topic for is the regulations of manufacturing and the sale of homeopathic drugs in the country. So as all of us, as the previous speakers has notified, Government of India has passed the legislation, Drugs and Cosmetic Act. premises and the schedules for the manufacturing premises, and later in 2009 the cosmetic was 1945. Rule was enacted regulate misbranded and previous drugs. So that's the main objective of the thing, and the control department has been active throughout these years to make available quality drugs, including homeopathic drugs, to the public, and to prevent serious misbranded and alternative drugs. And we have been, I think, we have been very successful because Kerala is one of the states where geographical reports of spurious and adulterated drugs being available in the market, but fortunately for Kerala, still now we have not reported major spurious drug activity, or there is no drug mafia as such in the state till now, thanks to the enforcement officers of the department. Next slide. And the homeopathic medicines has been defined under the Drugs and Cosmetic Drugs Rules 2020. It is as per Rule 2DD of the rules. It includes any drug which is recorded in homeopathic provings or therapeutic efficacy of which has been established through long clinical experience, as recorded in authoritative homeopathic literature in India and abroad, and which is prepared according to the technique of homeopathic pharmacies and cover combination of ingredients of such homeopathic medicines, but does not include a medicine which is administered by parenteral. So in homeopathic medicine, there is no parenteral administration as of now. So this is a brief, it covers all the thing with this definition. So in the rules, there have been certain major amendments in 2017 that will be covering in the later slides. The one is regarding the amendment schedule 1 regarding the equipments and equipments required for the manufacturing facilities of homeopathy manufacturing units, and the other one is regarding the certificate of good manufacturing practices. So a sub rule has been included, and schedule M1 is the criteria for good manufacturing practices. It is a requirement of factory premises for manufacturing of homeopathic preparations. Okay. We'll go through the schedule M1 very briefly. It is as I told you, it is gives all the requirements of the premises, plant and equipments for the manufacturing of homeopathic medicines. So as in the allopathic drugs, it's a part of a quality assurance which ensures that products are consistently manufactured and controlled to quality standards appropriate to their intended use. Good GMP is a good manufacturing practice, a set of principles and procedures which, when followed by manufacturers of therapeutic goods, help ensure that the product manufactured will have the required quality. So this GMP aspect we are very strictly enforcing, so that no substandard or adulterated or spurious drug is being released into the market. Okay. The GMP, the schedule M covers around 11 topics. That is, I have tabled here. It is general requirements, plant and equipment, requirement of equipments and facilities, quality control division, raw materials, procedures, laboratory controls, packing, label, etc. So it has detailed. The schedule MS is very detailed, and it covers each and every aspect of a production of a homeopathic drug. So we'll go by each heading. First is general requirement. The general requirements shows about the location and surrounding of the premises is briefly stated. It shall be situated in a clean place, which shall not be adjacent to open drains, public lavatory, or any factory producing pollution of any kind, garbage dump, slaughterhouse, or any other sources likely to cause contamination from the external environment. The premises shall be located away from railway lines so that the performance of sensitive electronic equipment is not affected by vibrations. There shall be no open drains inside the manufacturing premises. It shall be so designed that the entry of rodents is checked. The drain shall facilitate easy flow of effluent and shall be cleared periodically. Then the building, the premises shall not be used for any other purposes other than the manufacture of homeopathic drugs, and no part of the premises shall be used for any other purpose. Other facilities, if needed, could be provided in separate buildings in the same campus. And this raw materials, crude raw materials, packing materials shall be stored and handled in places earmarked for them and shall not be taken inside areas where critical operation of manufacture are done. Accepting the processed raw material, heating, washing, drying, packing, and labeling, etc., wherever needed, shall be done in dedicated ancillary areas adjacent to the manufacturing sections. The walls and floorings of the manufacturing area shall be smooth and free from cracks and services and shall be washable. Design of the window panes and all fittings shall be such that they will not facilitate accumulation, loading of dust and other containments. And it is the schedule specifies of the rooms. The room shall be airy. All the rooms shall be airy, ventilated, and maintained at a temperature which are moderate and comfortable. Sections which are required to be sterile, air conditioned, and provided with air handling system shall be designed accordingly. That details has been given separately. All sections shall be free from insects and birds, rodents, worms, etc. And suitable measures shall be taken to prevent the same from any use to the sections and equipments. And regarding water, the water used for the manufacture of the drug shall be of quality as prescribed by the rules or in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia concerned, as the case may be, and shall be prepared from pure drinking quality water, free from pathogenic organisms. And regarding the disposal of waste, effluents, organic and inorganic waste shall be disposed in such a manner as may be prescribed in the laws pertaining to the pollution control and control. They shall be rendered harmless and shall be disposed in such a manner that they are not hazardous to health of the public or cattle of land. Then the provisions of Factory Act should be complied with. All persons concerned with any activity pertaining to the manufacture of drug, including handling of raw materials, packing materials, packing and labeling of drugs, etc., shall be medically examined for fitness at the time of employment and subsequently at periodic intervals, and the records shall be maintained. Then first aid facilities shall be provided in such a manner that they are easily accessible, and the staff shall be imparted knowledge and training in first aid measures as may be needed. Fire control equipment shall be in place. Workbenches suitable to nature and conduct of the work shall be provided in all the sections. Such workbenches in general shall have smooth, washable, and tops, improved tops, and the parts shall not be rough or rusty or damaged otherwise. And regarding the container management, proper arrangement shall be made for receiving containers, closures, and packing materials in secluded areas, and for dedusting the same. Removal of waste, washing, cleaning, and drying. Suitable equipment shall be provided as may be needed, considering the nature of the work involved. Where soaps and detergents are used to wash the containers and closures used for primary packing, suitable procedures shall be prescribed and adopted for total removal of such materials from the containers and closures. Plastic containers which are likely to observe active principles or which are likely to contaminate the contents may not be used. This has been implemented. This plastic, regarding the plastic containers, has been implemented in Kerala based on the direction from the Honorable High Court recently, and the same has been disputed by many, and we are still negotiating on it. Still, we are insisting that no plastic containers should be used. And recently, Government of India has issued a circular that a particular grade of plastic material can be used in the manufacture, and so we have circulated among the officers, and now it will be permitted that special grade of plastics containers can be permitted. If it is glass containers, it shall be of neutral glass. The closers and washers used shall be of inert materials and shall not affect the active principles of contaminate the contents or which may otherwise be likely to cause deterioration of quality. The containers, closures, and packing materials shall be of such quality that it should protect the properties of the medicines, tablets, or anything like that. Then plant and equipment. The plant and equipment, the design of the plant shall be suitable for the nature and quantum of the activities involved. Equipment shall be installed in such a manner that to facilitate easy flow of materials and to check crisscross movement of there should be a uniform flow of the man and material. The entry to all manufacturing sections shall be regulated, and persons not associated with the activities in the section shall not have access to them. There shall be agreements for personal cleanliness of the workers and toilets. There shall be arrangements for the personal cleanliness of workers and toilets. There shall be toilets shall be separate for men and women workers. There shall be suitable arrangement for separate for men and women to change from their outside dress and footwear into the factory factory. Uniform of suitable colors and fabric which facilitate proper washing and washing shall be provided. The manufacturing premises shall not be used for dining. There shall not be separate area for the personal to take. There shall be separate area for the personal to take food or rest. Toilets shall not be located in or adjacent to any of the areas concerned with the manufacturing activity. Then matters like spitting, smoking, chewing, littering, etc. in the manufacturing and ancillary areas shall not be permitted. Then standard operating procedures for cleaning and sanitation, personal hygiene of the workers, general and specific upkeep of plant, equipment, all the standard operating procedures has to be prepared and expedited in all the concerned places. Okay. There's no person with any contagious disease shall be involved in any of the manufacturing activities. There shall be proper arrangements for maintenance of the equipments and system. The performance of every equipment and system shall be properly validated, and the use shall be monitored. Do's and don'ts in the matters of the use of plant and equipment as may be applicable shall be written and displayed in all places. Okay. Separate dedicated areas of activities such as receipt, cleaning, warehousing, and issue of raw materials, packing materials, containers and closures, finished goods, etc. should be provided. Adequate measures shall be taken to prevent entry, presence, etc. of insects, rodents, birds, lizards, and other animals into the raw material handling area. Every material should have proper identification and control numbers and inventory tracks and labels displaying status of the quality being used, etc. There shall be proper arrangements and SOPs for preventing mix-up of materials at every stage. As cross-contamination and contamination shall be avoided. There shall be separate arrangements for handling and warehousing of materials of different types. Materials with the odor, that is smell, shall be kept in tightly closed containers and shall be well protected from the other materials. Fresh materials and the odorless materials shall be preferably stored in separate dedicated areas. Where bonded manufacturing or warehousing facilities are required as per excise laws, the facility required shall be provided with no compromise on the requirements specified above. Then there should be a well-equipped laboratory for quality control of raw materials and finished products and for carrying out in-process controls. Then the details of the personal manufacturer of drugs shall be under the control of approved technical staff, and they shall process the qualification as prescribed in Rule 85 that I will come to later, the qualifications for the manufacturing personnel. Then the next part of the schedule is the requirement of equipments and facilities. So there are different types of sections. One is mother teachers and mother solutions. Then we have titration, tableting pills and globules making sections is there. Then potentization section is there. And syrups and other oral liquid section is there. Ointment, and I'll go through one by one. In the mother teachers and mother solution section, the following equipment shall be provided. Around 13 minimum equipments are required there. That is disintegrated sieve separator, master dress. This is the macerator and percolator that is usually used. Then, this is a filling machine, this bottle sealing machine. Then, okay, then there should be water stills, water purifiers, and around minimum 13 requirements are there. The area of the facilities for manufacturing of mother tinctures and mother solution shall not be less than 55 square meters for basic installations. Okay. Then the next section is the potentization section. The section will have the following facilities: workbenches with washable impervious tops, facilities for orderly storage of different potencies and back potencies of various drugs, suitable devices for measuring and dispensing of potencies, back potencies into the potentiation files, and potentiator with counter. The area of this section shall be not less than 20 square meters. One thing, the rule says that the section is requirement of the potentiator section is not mandatory. The process can be done manually with a proper SOP. Okay, so we are if it's not there, we are not insisting for that. Next is the containers and closures section. Separate area for preparation of containers and closures shall be provided, adjacent to the potentiation section. This area shall have the following facilities: washing tanks, rinsing tanks, closure washing tanks, and dryers. And all measures, different droplets shall be used only for each different medicines and different potency. Then all measures shall be in metric system. Measures shall be used of neutral glass or stainless steel. Metal droppers and plastic droppers shall not be used. Glass droppers shall be used only after proper cleaning and sterilization. Okay. Then next is the titration, tableting, pills, and global making section. The following basic equipments and facilities should be provided. That should be a titrating machine, disintegrator, mass mixer, granulator, electric tablet punching machine. So this is a heavy-duty tablet punching machine. This is on the left hand side is a mini tablet machine. This is this is a pot pan. This is a mini sifter. So you may be aware of all the things. So tablet punching machine and dryers. Around 14 types of equipments are mentioned. It will be an area. The minimum area should be 55 square meters, and it shall be divided into suitable cubicles to minimize the cross contamination and mix up, etc. of the products. As usual, the section shall be free from insects, worms, rodents, dust, and other floating particles and moisture. Then comes the syrup and other oral liquid sections. Mixing and storage tanks, portable stirrer, filter press, filling and sealing machine, pH meter, etc., should be there in the syrup and oral liquid section. That's the minimum requirement. Minimum area of 20 square meters should be provided for the basic installation. The section shall be free from dust and floating particles, cobwebs, flies, and other insects, birds, lizards, and rodents. So here the adequate number of workbenches should be provided. Then visual inspection table shall be provided for detecting the particles. So there should be visual inspection shall be against the white and black background. I have shown a picture here. Then comes the ointment and lotion sections. The following basic equipment and facility should be provided: mixing tanks, kettle, suitable powder planetary mixer, ointment mill, colloidal mill, and filling and sealing machines, filtering equipments, balance and weights. So the minimum area is square meter, and the ancillary area for washing vessels elements also should be provided. Then we have the ophthalmic preparation sections. There also the hot air oven, electric heat with the thermostat control, laminar airflow bench, air handling unit should be there with HEPA filters, high efficient particle air filters to provide filter and positive pressure to the section with airlocks. Ointment mill, colloidal mills should be provided, mixing and glass storage tanks, pressure vessels. So around 11 equipments are required in this section, minimum requirement. The minimum area of the section should not be less than 20 square meters for basic installation. Section shall have a clean room facility for class 100 specification. So this class 100 is it, class 10 is there, class 100 is there, class 10,000 is there. So for this homeopathic formulation, it is class 100 specification. The particle size in the air, particle size of the contaminants in the room shall be restricted there, so that it is the class 100 specifications mentioned. That is given separately. The details are given in the rule itself. The section shall be air conditioned and humidity controlled. Then the end of the section shall be regulated through air locks. That's double air locks with different air pressures. With the airlock adjacent to the section having higher pressure, and the first one through which entry is made with the least pressures. That's a system of maintaining the cleanliness, sterility of the room. And the material shall be passed to the section through suitable hatches. separate hatches should be there to pass the materials to the section. It cannot be brought directly to the section with the double locking system. The personnel shall wear sterile clothing, including headgear, which shall not shed fibers. Washing of oils shall be done in separate areas with proper equipment. Proper facilities shall be provided in the area for washing vessels. Then then comes the quality control division. The function of the quality control division, a separate quality control division shall be provided in the premises. The section shall be under the control of an approved technical officer independent of the manufacturing division and directly responsible to the management. The section shall be responsible for ensuring the quality of all raw materials, packing materials and finished goods. The section shall also carry out in-process quality checks of the products. The section shall be responsible for the stability of the product and for prescribing their shelf life whenever applicable. The following functions are also included in the quality control division: to test and identify quality and purity of the raw materials, and to recommend rejection of material of poor quality and approve materials of the prescribed quality only. To test and identify quality and purity of the finished products, and to recommend rejection of the material of poor quality and to approve materials of prescribed quality only. To prepare and validate the method of analysis, validate the equipment, monitor their use, take steps for proper maintenance, etc. To approve or reject containers, closures, and packing methods in accordance with the prescribed norms. To exercise or carry out in-process control of products. To prescribe standard operating procedures on all matters concerning quality of materials and products. And to monitor the storage and handling of raw materials, finished products, containers, closures, and packing materials, etc. And to investigate complaint on quality of products and recommend appropriate measures. Take appropriate measures and to examine return goods and recommend their proper disposal. Next thing detailed in the schedule is the personnel. The quality control staff shall be full-time personnel. Analysis of drugs, raw materials, etc. shall be done by qualified and approved technical staff. The technical staff shall have the minimum qualification of degree in homeopathic pharmacy or science with chemistry or botany as the principal subject, and experience of not less than 2 years in the test and analysis of medicines, including handling of instruments. So the lab also, the minimum requirement of equipments are also noted. There are around 19 different types of equipments. Analytical quality testing equipments there. So I have given the details here. And the next part is this is the HPTLC. This is usually used in the laboratories. Then the raw materials. Regarding raw materials, it is divided into raw materials of plant origin. The raw materials of plant origin used in the manufacture of homeopathic drugs shall be of the following specification. The material shall be those recently collected and dried and shall be free from moisture so as to eliminate the risk of deterioration and infection, pests, molds, etc. The material shall be collected when the atmospheric temperature is suitable, where its active constants are not changed, damaged, or destroyed. When fresh materials are to be used, the time lapse from the time of collection to the use shall be minimized shall be minimum, etc. The material shall conform to the pharmacopoeia standards. When dry materials are procured, they shall be from healthy plants and shall be in unprocessed form, free from all extraneous matters such as fungus, insects, moths, pathogens, etc. Plant materials of to facilitate proper identification and purity of the materials and to exercise proper quality control of the material, the following conditions must be satisfied. The whole specimen plant or mold shall be available in properly dried form. The material shall be free from insecticide, fungicides, etc. Fresh outside material shall be such as E. coli, salmonella, etc. And regarding nosodes, there shall be of pharmaceutical specifications, and these are derived from deceased animal, human beings. There shall be autoclave immediately after collection and transported to proper hygiene, protected from all contaminations. Before use, they shall be autoclaving and shall comply with the for sterility in homeopathic pharmacopoeia. Then the schedule lays procedures for every material shall be identified chopping for using apparatus and apparatus, especially diseases are reproduction of the product the same quality every time. That shall be preserved in tightly closed neutral containers. Then the packing and labeling. The minimum area for packing and labeling should be 50 square meters, and that's only requirement. And then details about the expiry date of the product. It states that it shall not exceed 60 months from the date of manufacture, except homeopathic dilutions and back potencies if stored under hygienic conditions. Then details about the standard operating procedures. It says that the standard standard operating procedures shall be developed for various activities such as receipt of raw materials, raw materials, packing materials, everything, identification, cleaning, drying, warehousing, issue, handling, sampling, etc. of all materials. Labels and packing shall be examined for correctness and compliance with rules. Records shall be maintained for the printing, use, destruction, etc. Then the last item of the schedule is records and registers. Records shall be maintained for all the activities. They shall include records of production, records of raw materials, records of testing, records of sales and other supplies, records of rejections, complaints and action taken, SOPs and records of complaints, logbooks of equipments, master formula records, records of medical examination and fitness of personnel. All records shall be maintained for a period of 1 year after the expiry of a batch for 3 years, whichever is later. So now we shall take the schedule M is over. Now we shall take a brief look at the labeling of homeopathic drugs. There's a separate chapter. Rule 106 of the drug rules. Part 9A, Rule 106A describes the labeling requirements of the homeopathic medicine. The details, the following particulars shall be either printed or written in indelible ink and shall appear in a conspicuous manner on the label of the innermost container of any homeopathic medicine and on every other covering in which the container is packed. First thing is that the homeopathic medicine should be inscribed, then the name of the medicine. For drugs included in the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India or the United States of Pharmacopoeia or the United Kingdom or the German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, the names specified in that pharmacopoeia. For other drugs, the name descriptive of the real nature of the drug. The next thing is the potency of the homeopathic medicine should be indicated. For this purpose, the potency shall be expressed either in decimal, centesimal, or millisimal systems. The next thing is in case of homeopathic medicines containing 2 or more ingredients, the name of each ingredient together with its potency and proportion expressed in metric system shall be stated on the label. Then the name and address of the manufacturer when sold in original containers of the manufacturer. In case of homeopathic medicine sold in a container other than that of the manufacturer, name and address of the seller also should be mentioned. Provided if medicine is imported, the name and address of the importer shall also be mentioned on the label. In case of homeopathic medicine, in case if a homeopathic medicine contains alcohol, the alcohol content in percentage by volume in terms of ethyl alcohol shall be stated on the label. If it is less than 30 milliliters, it is not necessary to state the content of alcohol in the label. In addition to the above particulars, which has to be printed on the label of the homeopathic mother tincture shall display the following particulars. a distinctive batch number should be there, which is batch number should be preceded by the word batch number or batch or lot number, etc. The manufacturing license should be clearly mentioned with the words preceding manufacturing license or ML. And in case of homeopathic tincture is imported from other country, this is not applicable. And one condition is that no homeopathic medicine containing a single ingredient shall bear a proprietary name on its label. Then there is a prohibitory clause is there. No homeopathic medicine containing more than 12% alcohol, volume by volume, that ethyl alcohol shall be packed and sold in packing or bottles of more than 30 milliliters, except that it may be sold to hospital dispensing packets or bottles of not more than 100 milliliters. Okay. Now the manufacturing aspect is over. Now I come to the sale of homeopathy. For sale both by retail and wholesale of homeopathic medicines requires sale license under the drugs and cosmetic rules. For retail license, Form 20C is granted, and also license Form 20D is granted. The fee for each license is 250. If the homeopathy drug is stocked from more than one premise, separate license is required, and the validity of the license is 5 years. The condition granting a sale license is that the premises should be clean and adequate space should be provided. There is no particular specific area is provided mentioned. For retail license, a qualified person should be there. You should be having degree in homeopathic or degree in pharmacy, homeopathy or degree in pharmacy, bachelor's degree with 1 year experience at a clinic by a homeopathic practitioner or in a licensed sale premises, or diploma in homeopathic pharmacy or diploma in homeopathic medicines. Either of the qualifications is needed for obtaining a license. So, and the condition which stated for the sale is that if a registered medical practitioner is practicing in the premises where license is granted, sale license is granted, he is not entitled to deal with the homeopathic medicines. The conditions of grant of license, sale license is that the premises shall be maintained in clean condition. The retail sale of homeopathic medicine shall be conducted only under the supervision of the qualified persons. The medicine shall be sold in the original container of the manufacturer, sealed packing, except dispensing of medicines, globules, water or milk sugar, or as per the prescriptions of a homeopathic medical practitioner. The premises shall be permitted to be inspected by an inspector, and required information shall be furnished. Purchase and sales records containing alcohol shall be maintained together with the name and address of the properties to be sold. And regarding conditions of the manufacturing of license, also I'll just go by deal for 5 minutes. 25 Okay, the application for license to manufacture homeopathic medicines. The application is to be made in Form 24C, and the license is granted in Form 25C. These are the fees prescribed by the rules for the manufacture of homeopathic medicines. Various for the manufacture of it is rupees 200. For inspection fee, it is 100. First inspection, 50 for subsequent renewal inspections. Then 200 rupees for the manufacture of homeopathic potent preparations only. Then the inspection fee is 100 and 50 for the renewal inspection. Then 200 for potent preference from backup potencies by pharmacy which are already licensed to sell homeopathic medicines. And inspection fee is 100 for the first inspection. All the fees are mentioned. Okay, next. No new homeopathic medicine shall be manufactured unless it is previously approved the license authority mentioned in Rule 21. The manufacturer of new homeopathic medicine, when applying the license authority mentioned in, shall produce such documents and evidence as may be required by the license authority for assessing the therapeutic efficacy of the medicine, including the minimum provings carried out with it. Applicant shall produce along with this application evidence that a new homeopathic medicine for the manufacturer of which application made has already been approved. Before a license in Form 25C is granted or renewed, the following conditions has to be complied with the licensee or the applicant. The manufacture of homeopathic medicine shall be conducted under the direction and supervision of a competent technical staff. That's a manufacturing chemist consisting at least of one person who is a whole-time employee and who is a graduate in science with chemistry as one of the subjects, with 3 years experience in the manufacture of homeopathic medicines, or a graduate in pharmacy with 18 months experience in the manufacture of homeopathic medicines, or a wholesale qualifications as a registered homeopathic medical practitioner with 18 months experience in the manufacture of homeopathic medicine. Okay. A person who is already in the employment with 5 years experience in the manufacture of homeopathic medicines and whose name accordingly entered in any license standard in Form 25C for manufacture of different class of homeopathic medicines included in them shall be deemed to be qualified for this purpose. The factory premise shall comply with the requirements and conditions specified in Schedule M1 described earlier. Then this is to provide the provided the license considers it necessary or expedient to do so. It may, having regard to the nature and extent of the manufacturing operation, relax or suitably alter the set requirements. The licensing authority has the discretion to alter the provisions in accordance with the manufacturing product which is being manufactured there. The certificate of good manufacturing practice has been included in the rules as an amendment in 2017. This is provided to the manufacturer who comply with the requirements of good manufacturing practices of homeopathic drugs as specified in the Schedule M1, issued up to the validity of the license. So, if the license holder having GMP certificate will be issued a license. The application for manufacture of homeopathic mother tinctures shall either provide and maintain adequate staff, premises, and laboratory equipment for identifying the raw materials and for testing the mother tinctures wherever possible. Make arrangements with some institution approved by the licensing authority under the rule for such tests wherever possible to be regularly carried out on its behalf by the institution. The premises for homeopathic medicines are manufactured shall be distinct and separate from the premises used for residential purposes. Homeopathic medicine shall not be manufactured simultaneously with drugs pertaining to other system of medicines. And this I explained, and the applicant shall make arrangements for proper homeopathic medicines manufactured by him. Provided in case of potentized preparations are made in a pharmacy holding license in Form 20C, the condition 2 and 3 shall not apply. The licensee shall ensure to the satisfaction of licensee that the product manufactured may conform to the claims made on the label. Before the license is granted renewed, the licensing authority shall cause the establishment in which the manufacturer is proposed to be inspected by one or more inspectors appointed under the Act. The inspector or inspector shall examine all portions of the premises, plant and appliances, process of manufacture intended to be employed or being employed, along with the means to be employed or being employed for standardizing and testing the substance to be manufactured. Okay. The professional qualification of the technical staff to be employed has to be examined. Also examine and verify the statements made in the application to their correctness. Capability of the applicant to comply with the requirement of competent technical staff management has to be examined. The requirement of plant equipment as laid down in Schedule M1, but the requirement of maintenance as laid down in Schedule U. The duration of license is for 5 years from the date of the grant, provided the application for renewal license in force is made before its expiry. If the application is made within 6 months of its expiry after payment of additional fee. There is a certificate of renewal. Then the conditions of license are prescribed in Rule 85H. The license in Form 25, that is a manufacturing license, therein and the following further conditions. The license shall be provided and maintain staff and premises as specified in Rule 85E that we already discussed. The licensee shall allow an inspector appointed under the Act to enter with or without prior notice any premises where the manufacture of homeopathic medicines in respect of which license issued is carried on, to inspect the premises and to take samples of the manufactured homeopathic medicines. The licensee shall allow an inspector to inspect all registered records maintained under rules and shall apply to the inspector such Supply to the inspector such information as he may require for the purpose of ascertaining whether the provisions of the Act and rules made thereunder have been observed. The licensee shall maintain an inspection book. It is there. The licensee shall comply with the conditions in respect of mother tinctures manufactured by him as follows. The crude drug used in the manufacture of mother tincture shall be identified and records of such identification shall be kept for a period of 5 years. The total solids in the mother tincture shall be determined and records of such tests shall be kept for a period of 5 years. The alcohol content in the mother tincture shall be determined and the records of the same shall be maintained for a period of 5 years. The containers of mother tincture shall be preferably of glass and shall be clean and free from any sort of impurities of adhering matter. The glass shall be of neutral as far as possible. In the process of manufacture of mother tinctures, hygienic conditions shall be scrupulously observed by the licensee. Storage and holding conditions shall be properly observed by the licensee according to the homeopathic principles. No color shall be added to any homeopathic medicines, provided that caramel may be added to the combinations of homeopathic medicines with syrup base. Record shall be maintained. Homeopathic medicines containing alcohol shall be maintained and quantities sold together with names and address of parties to whom sold. Such record shall be maintained for a period of 5 years. So, the licensing authority is having the power to cancel and suspend the license as per the rules. Okay, so these are the regulatory provisions to be completed by a manufacturing premises or a sales premises. So, with this, I think it is a very stringent rules and regulations, so that no serious or adulterated or misbranded homeopathic drug is made available in the market. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for an elaborate and informative session on regulatory aspects regarding manufacturing and sale of homeopathic drugs.